The origin of the word Slav, and more precisely a Sclav, which is the same, but with a second letter like Charlie, is from the Greek word skilevo, as you can see on the screen, which means a dog, as you can see on Google translation screen. And now it will be proven that, and why it is. We use the etymological lexical vocabulary of George Bambniadi, shown on the screen page. For reference, we see that the word for a dog in the Greek language is a skila, and the last letter is a suffix that is not part of the root. This will serve us later. We translate the text for the word slices, and see that it is a dog. It can also be a little puppy. We will now use the book on the history of Theophylact, Simacata. The cover of the book is shown. We see the mention of the word Sclavinus, and let's translate. The translation is attacked by the greedy Slavs. As we know, Sclavony and Slavs are confused even though there is one letter difference. But in our case it is essential. Once again there is Sclavinos, also Rome, and something military. We translate. The translation gives us that a Roman general has defeated two groups of Sclavinos. And once again we search Sclav, and this time we see Sclavinorum, and the Avars are mentioned this time. The translation gives us information about the defeated spheres that are now translated not as Slavs, but as slaves as we know it. Namely, the Slavs are slaves, and the Slavians are also slaves. As in this case, this defeated ruler of the Sclavines was by the authorities of the Avars. Another mentions Sclavinus that will be more intriguing. The translation tells us that the Romans are at war with the Sclavinus, after we already know that there were many attacks and even war with the Sclavinus, and that the word for a dog has a root skilla. We can see this word on the screen translated too, which also means dog. And this is the word skilevo. It can be seen left down above the microphone and the speaker transcribed in Latin letters. Therefore, it is a word for a dog. Now we shall know about the name of Bulgarian tribe, Kuti-Guri, which is composed from two words, kuti and guri. The first is an old word and comes from the word kuti or kutri in ancient Bulgarian, which is a diminutive word for puppies in the past, but it is still in use. This word is also the little finger of the hand, because it is small. So, a little lin. Puppies is the word kutri, and this is good because apparently the Greeks have translated this word into Greek, and it has become skilevo. So we already know that the Sclavinos are skilevo, which means puppy or puppies. This means that they are Bulgarians of the tribe Kuti or Kutriguri. The word guri is well known that means people. It is in Bulgarian. Transformed to the word hora, this is actually very important, and we will need other videos. We see on the site Wiktionary for the Hellenic word skilevo, but everything is Greek. So we translate. We see that it has an archaic meaning of the word skilevo, but that it is also a dog, and it is also a prey. So, we are going further. Once again in another lexical etymological online dictionary. And translation is a prey. There is no way either prey or a dog, depends on the context. So we move further. We return to Georgi's book again and find the vocabulary for a Sclav, and we do not have to translate it. Is the word slave. You can see it underlined with red on the right, the last word. Word. As there is the word in other languages, such as esclave, slavo, esclava, who were in the video of Slav, that it was a bad and offensive word. This is how one letter is lost from the Latin and the ending is, and instead of a skilevo becomes a Sclav, and later Slav by losing the second letter as well. We are looking at a book on the internet again for etymology, but this time is the word Slavus without a letter, C like Charlie. And we see that it is related to service and servians. Another etymology of another book, the same result. We translate in Slav means servant, but as we translated, service is the first word for rob. So it is, and Slav is a slave. It was in the previous video. Again, in the book of Georgius, we see that Slav and Slavia are associated with another word, Slavon or Slavos, with a second letter T like Tulsa. We also find this word, and it is associated with the word Sklavos. So we know that is the same word, slave. It became clear that he was coming from the Greek word for a puppies or puppy. We find another word, Slav. This time is the etymology of the word, and the translation gives us that all those words stavos and sklavos mean slave and therefore refers to it. I want to emphasize that the last word sklavos has a lowercase first letter, which means slave and is not the name of the Sclavines or the Slavs. And for the genes of the Slavs and who they are, there will be another video. So subscribe, share with everyone and help me by pressing thumb up. The truth will make you free. Bottom lines, the Greek language is the language of the Eastern Roman Empire, and as mentioned before in the other video why Slav and Serbian is a bad word, and what it means. The word sklavos, slavos, sklavini, Sclav and Slav all mean slave from the 500 year, exactly at that time. So, the Jornades or Jordanes mentioned them in his book for the Goths, the book named Getica. Also, Theophylactus Simocata mentions Sklavini. So the development of the word Slav comes from the Greek word for dog or puppies which is skilevo, which is translation of the word kuti or kutri, which is puppies in Bulgarians even today after more than 1500 years. Is the truth. And those people Polish to Russians, also from there to south. Slavs are not Slavic people, they was named slaves, and unfortunately enslaved, due to lack of army and state to protect them, which is exactly why Kiev and Rus was created. It was created to protect people from kidnapping and enslavement. During making this video in English, I encountered way too much problems to make the best way the pronunciation of the words to match the real one. See, the transcribed Greek letters is not in English, but in Latin. That is the correct one. But you have to hear it in English, and I had to make it sound the same like in Greek and Latin. So that is why is it hard to explain in English. See, there is no such thing like English alphabet. It is Latin alphabet, but it is used in unique way by the English, so it looks in English, but it is in Latin language. So the word skilevo is also skilevo wordstu. But it sound different. And I hope if you do not get something from the first time you are watching this video, watch it again. It is very important that the people understand there is meaning of the words and them origin, also, that the names of people are after the meaning. And yes, there is a huge abyss between the English, Bulgarian, and Greek also. Latin makes it really harder. So try to understand. Also, I emphasize on the history in this video, and the history tells us that the Kutriguri tribe of Bulgarians was waging attacks and wars with Eastern Roman Empire, and that is the way people of them to became captives, which in those times was not being prisoners of war, but slaves. They, the Romans, did enslave people either by war or attacking them over the border, which in this case was the Danube River. It was called Ister at that time. So those people was in war all the time with Roman Empire on the Balkans, so the word Sclav, or the Greek word skilevo became Slav, and meant slave. The same word was used by the Western states after the fall of Western Roman Empire. If you have a word for slave, you just use it, no need to invent another one. So the Bulgarians, as well known from history, defeated Eastern Roman Empire, and Constantinople lost Balkans by losing that the access to Serbian territory was lost, and the access to the Sklaveni in the north of Danube was also lost, due to the Bulgarian state there. So, the lack of slaves had to be fulfilled by other people. And those people was those that do not have army. And those was the Veneti, or the Vendi, or Vens, or perhaps in English is mispronounced as Wens. So until the Kievan Rus they was kidnapped and enslaved. Even Polish and Lithuanian and others was enslaved, so the Rome got the slaves to word and make the sea empire strong. Well, we Bulgarians do not like slaves like ever. We never used slaves. People was free despite anything, so Serbians in Bulgarian Empire was not enslaved and other even joined Bulgaria for the reason to be protected and life in freedom. That is the revolution of those years during the fall of Eastern Roman Empire. It was a new beginning, where people are valued by them skills and ton to be enslaved. So if you do not like being enslaved, neither others to call you bad name, so you must subscribe and hit the like button, also share. Make other people free, so they will like you too.